Hi, I'm Josh. Welcome to the video. I like to help people improve their fitness using different challenges. Today, my focus is kind of a low equipment lifting circuit that I use dumbbells. I've got a bench for some of it. And my goal is to help joint mobility, joint durability in the upper body, but also put a little bit of stress on the muscles too. So I've got 3 sets of weights here for myself just to demonstrate with, 8s, 20s, and 30s. It's good to have a few options because what you need for some of these mobility drills is going to be a lot lighter weight than what you would need for a strength exercise. The circuit's going to go strength, mobility, strength, mobility, strength, mobility, and you could turn it into a workout, but I'm going to just go through one circuit one time through. And if you were following along and you need the guidance, I'd run through the circuit and then just start it over at the beginning of the circuit and run through as many times as you need for a good workout. I'd say for a good workout, you probably would want to go through at least 3 or 4 times for a full workout. It'll be a good upper body workout. The more times you do it, the more effective it'll be. But, you know, I talk about timers sometimes. I'm using a timer, a minute of exercise, 30 seconds to rest. This enables me to focus on the task and less on like rep counting or something like that. That being said, you know, no methodology is perfect, no system's perfect. So let's say you're doing a strength exercise or mobility exercise and you just get overwhelmed, it gets fatiguing. The timer's there for structure. That's really what it's there for. Fatigue is the real goal, usually, because that's the thing that elicits, the stress is the thing that elicits the change. That's the thing that initiates change in all of us. Yeah, so you'll hear a timer hopefully. And in those 30-second spaces, I mean, I'm going to be talking the entire time probably, but in those 30-second spaces in between, I'm going to kind of try to help with the finer points of this. So think about all the joints in your upper body. I'm going to go from the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder, into the shoulder blades a little bit, into the pecs a little bit. And, you know, the shoulder will represent a lot more movements than the wrist and the elbow. But I'm going to get a little bit of each of those too. So the shoulder's just a ball and socket joint. If you need a little guidance as far as what weights you need, for your lightest set, you want to be able to do this with it, with minimal stress. You want to be able to do a pretty long arm. You could have a bent elbow a little bit, and you want to be able to do the biggest range you can in a backstroke. That will help you determine your light one. And honestly, let's say you get some heavy dumbbells, and we're doing curls, we're doing a chest press, and you tire out early. Like I said, the timer is just a means to an end. Tiring out is the goal, because that's the thing that elicits change. So, as I've said in the other videos, I should have a playlist in the description. And don't be afraid to like, subscribe, and comment. That's going to get me more algorithm attention, I think. It's going to hopefully get more eyes on these. So, thank you, and I'm going to test the timer. Let's see if we can hear it.
Exercise.
All right, I think that's probably a little quiet, so I'll turn it up just a little bit. And I'm out in my backyard because I need to get some sun.
Exercise.
Okay.
Rest.
I'm going to start on the rest. And the first exercise I'm going to do is wrist curls. I'm going to probably use a light or a medium weight. I'm just going to sit on the bench. I'm sorry, I said wrist curls. I meant wrist extensions. So I'm going to put my elbows on my thighs, let my wrists bend, and then I'm just going to reverse that motion here. I'm going to curl upward, knuckles
3,
up.
2, 1. Exercise.
And this is working my wrist extensors. Things like this is good for blood flow and for strength in the forearm and the wrist. Carpal tunnel issues, throwing this and the other wrist exercises in are going to help you. Trying to keep everything out of it except for the wrist, trying to isolate. Working through the minute here. It looks like we've got about 22 seconds left. Trying to create a little fatigue. A lot of fatigue if you can.
Three, two, one. Rest.
All right, so that was the strength exercise. Strengthening these, you should feel it up here. You might feel it in here, pulling on that too. Going into a mobility exercise, a stretch. Recommend a soft surface to put these hands on. I'm going to put the back of my hands on a bench. You could go down to a mat on the floor. You could use a table. But I'm going to put the back of my hand down. Okay, and how bent my elbows are going to determine how much pressure is on the wrist. How far forward I am is going to determine how much pressure is on the wrist. From here, I'm going to try to open and close my grip. So how much pressure can you put on your wrists while opening and closing your grip? Now we're stretching out, we're moving the tendons and muscles around that joint. Okay, if you want more, just lock out those elbows. Get your chest over your hands. If you want to make it harder, if you need to make it easier, bend the elbows, sink a little closer to your hands. This is a smaller joint. There's not a lot of meat or cushion around it. So if you're feeling discomfort from this, I would say that's to be expected.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
All right. Okay. Contracted the muscles in the wrist extensors, and then we stretched them out. So I'm going to roll this to my fingertips for the next strength exercise, and then I'm going to roll it back up, try to get my knuckles to face the sky. Roll down into the fingertips, light weights again, bending the wrist upward,
1.
getting the knuckles to face up. If you find yourself lifting your forearms, you're using your biceps. We're trying to avoid that right now. So we can have some laser focus on the wrists. I'm planning on making a video on isolation and compound movements, just my opinions on it soon. This is going to be a lot of isolated motions, a few compound motions, but this is to help create muscle awareness too. There's good and bad to everything. For muscle building and getting a big hormonal response, they say compound movements are the way to go. But this will help you get contractions and stretch the right areas. So
3,
consider
2,
that.
1. Rest.
Okay, actually, instead of a body weight stretch, I'm actually just going to let this roll to the fingertips and hang there off the fingertips and just try to relax my grip as much as I can without dropping the weights. Now I'm going to add a little motion to it by pulsing my knuckles backwards, trying to fold the hand even further backwards. And I'm feeling my wrist extensors working again. So hopefully that puts a thought in your head that stretches and strength exercises in a literal sense are not mutually exclusive, because I'm definitely contracting the muscles on the other side of my forearm again in order to pull the knuckles back. But it's enhancing the stretch here. If I straighten out my elbows again, as long as I can hang on to the weight with my fingertips It may run up into your elbows, may run up into your biceps. Depends on how tight you are here. Okay, I'm just gonna hold my fingers back for the remainder.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Okay, moving up to the elbow joint. I'm gonna work one arm at a time on this. This is biceps and forearms. For this first one, I'm gonna do some pronation, some supination, and some curling. So I want a fully relaxed arm. I want my elbow on my inner thigh. I'm gonna be as tall as I can, curling up,
3,
turning
2,
the palm down,
1. Exercise.
controlling the descent. You don't want to go down too fast in the descent because then you'll be losing out on good contractions through this brachioradialis. If you've got elbow issues, movement is probably the answer. The question is, what's the issue and what's the answer? And I'm going to get more into that as we're working our way
3, 2,
up the
1.
arm.
Rest.
Okay. All right, I'm going to just do both arms before I do the stretch on the elbow joint. So I'm going to go strength, strength, mobility here. Fully relaxed arm, elbow against the inner thigh. Going up, going down.
3, 2, 1. Exercise.
I've got a shortened bicep on this side. I don't know if you noticed it, but I had an injury several years ago, 2020, height of COVID, and it was not a great time for me to get a surgery. So I tore the inner part of my bicep, and it ended up healing shortened, and now it contracts a little higher, but I really had to rebuild the strength, and it just doesn't perform as well as the other arm does. Hopefully, one day I can address that issue. For now, I'm just doing the best I can.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
All right. Okay, I'm going to take really light weights, and I'm going to lay on this bench now. I need room for my arms to drop. This is a bicep stretch. Okay, I'm keeping the palms up, facing my head kind of. I'm dropping the elbows, and then I'm going to keep my grip as loose as possible, as open as possible. I'm going to sink down, hover as low as I can.
3, 2,
This other weight's in the
1.
way.
Exercise.
Okay, this other weight's in the way, but I'm dropping my elbows first, and then I'm going to unfold my elbows, get my hands to hover as low as possible. Okay, from here, I'm going to keep a slight bend in the elbow. I'm going to turn the hands out if I can, because it's going to creep up into my shoulder and my chest, but I don't want to turn it too far out. I want to focus more on the elbow joint. I'm going to flip the weight, using light weights, keeping the elbows low, keeping the hands low. I'm trying not to work too hard, honestly, letting it stretch. And again, you're going to probably feel this up to the chest and shoulders. Also, hopefully you're feeling it in the forearm and the elbows,
3,
though.
2, 1. Rest.
Okay, I'm going to do some triceps now. Just so I can get really good range and form. I'm gonna be as clean as I can here. I'm gonna put my right hand and right knee on the bench. Gonna hike my left elbow up. So this is the start position, palm in, and then palm up.
2, 1.
Let's go from actually palm forward to palm up. And I'm trying to keep that elbow as still as I can. I kind of have to move it a little bit so I'm able to get my dumbbell around my body. But I'm trying to lock out that arm so I get a good tricep contraction. And I want my palm to be facing the sky at the top of the movement. Palm facing forward at the bottom of the movement. I want to try to keep the elbow in the same general space, going for a minute. This is a very weak position. So while I could do super heavy weights if I was on a dip machine or something like that, this doesn't work the same. Really working on the range here, pushing it up and back. I can feel it in the back of my shoulder even. At the top.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Okay, just gonna turn around and do the other side. Elbow high, palm forward, rotate, lock out.
Three, 2, 1. Exercise.
Could I do heavier? Sure. How clean do I want my reps to be? I just want to demonstrate this the best I can. And I'm kind of nursing a golfer's elbow type issue, a hyperextension on my right elbow. So I'm just working the best I can with some lightweight on this move. And you know, if you really want to focus on building muscle, you may want to go heavier, and maybe your reps won't be quite as clean as they would be at a lighter weight. But if you can feel those tricep contractions, that's the real goal. Six seconds.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
That elbow issue is actually part of the reason that I'm doing this video. This is hopefully therapeutic. Okay, so I started with my left arm. I'm gonna just hold a single weight and I'm gonna let it hang behind my head. Notice I'm grabbing the head of the dumbbell and I'm gonna keep my ring finger and my pinky finger off the dumbbell. It's my light one. And then I'm gonna try to grab my left elbow.
3, 2, 1. Exercise.
Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit of movement by letting that dumbbell swing a little bit around behind my back here. I'm trying to keep it off my back. So if I need to, I'm gonna soften up my knees and push my hips forward. If your lower back feels really uncomfortable or hurts here, that's a sign that you probably have tight hip flexors. Squeeze your rear end. It'll give that lower back support, and keep the knees soft. Just trying to manipulate that elbow joint, trying to loosen up everything around it. Still working it a little bit, but it's in a stretched position. Stretch plus movement, very powerful. Okay, you're gonna try the other side. I'm gonna kneel actually. This might help take away any back stiffness if you kneel while you do it. Okay, ring finger, pinky off. Grip the head. Let the arm hang as deep as it can. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my elbow with my free hand. Then a little pulse, little bounce.
3, 2, 1. Exercise.
You may feel this run down into your lats. I'm gonna do a more lat intensive stretch coming up, but they're the same chain. So it happens. Just like the bicep stretch, the bicep rotation, the mobility there, or I'm sorry, the forearm rotation. You felt that up in the shoulders. Sometimes I say the wrong thing, but at least I try to catch myself.
Three, two, one. Rest.
All right. Okay, so we've worked that elbow joint quite a bit. I'm gonna move to a chest press. Probably want the heaviest dumbbells I can find for this one. It's a strong movement. Gonna lay on the bench, head and neck supported, weights, elbows hanging low, sinking as deep as I can, bringing the dumbbells up and together.
2, 1. Exercise.
Okay, while you're here, let's pay attention to elbow flare. If my elbows are flared out super wide like this, it's gonna hit my shoulders harder, could create issues, especially if it's heavy weight for me. My recommendation, 45-degree elbows, 45 degrees off the side of your body, up and push. My grip is open. Anytime you can have an open grip and get away with it, I recommend it. It's easier on the joints involved. There might be a situation where that doesn't apply, but none are coming to mind at the moment. And you don't normally need as much grip on pushes. It's more for pulls. I'm gonna drop those elbows as low as you can.
1.
Okay.
Rest.
And a chest stretch. Gonna take those light weights again. Okay, before, remember how we dropped the elbows and then the hands? I'm gonna do something similar, but not the same. Gonna point my elbows more out to the sides, a little bit past 45 degrees. Drop them, and then gradually open my grip and unfold my hands to hover low. Okay, very slowly, think snow angel. If the weight's not light, you could hurt yourself here. That's why I'm saying light weights are important for some of this. Open grip. I don't have like a really big snow angel, but I'm moving like I would, just in the range that I can without too much discomfort. Trying to hit as many chest fibers as I can by changing the angles here. Hands low, hands low. Everything's relative though, so if it's too low and it hurts, bring the hands higher. If you're too far out, bend the elbows a little bit. You gotta make this your own. Not here to get injured.
3, 2, 1.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna take the medium weights I have. We're gonna do a little bit of a, this is shoulders, but it's also lats if you do it right. Okay, I'm gonna do it seated, so I make sure I'm in camera. I'm gonna keep the elbows lower than my shoulders, just slightly, and then I'm gonna push them as far back as I can and puff up my chest. I'm arching my back.
1. Exercise.
Okay, I'm gonna just move in a range between my shoulders and my elbows lower than my shoulders, but pretty close. And then I'm gonna drop my elbows as low as I can. I'm gonna squeeze my back muscles. This only works if my hands and elbows are further back and my chest is puffed up. I need an arched back for this. Open that grip, open that grip. I wanna feel those back muscles working. Okay, show you from the front here, or the back rather. You saw me from the side. Squeeze the back at the bottom. Reset by coming up. This is an eccentric, more or less. As the elbows sink, I puff the chest up as much as I can.
2, 1, rest.
You're gonna definitely feel the anterior deltoid on that too if the weight is significant. Okay, for this lats one, I'm gonna take that light dumbbell. I'll try standing. I don't know why I didn't before. I'm gonna take it in my right hand. I'm gonna rest my forearm on my head. And then I'm gonna
2,
push my hips to the right
exercise.
and head and weight to the left. You're gonna feel this out in your hips. You're gonna feel it in your obliques. But if you turn and look at the ground or maybe like kind of slightly rotate, you're gonna feel some lat too, hopefully. You can even drop the arm behind your head. You're trying to pull that arm as close to the ground as you can. Here's the first side. And right now my lats aren't very tight, so I'm not feeling them so much. I feel it down at the hip, and I feel a little bit here. It's just not as tight right now. This would be something good to do after lat pull downs. You'll really feel it there. I don't have a lat
3,
pull down out
2,
here.
1, rest.
Oh, the side coming up. Forearm on top of my head, weight hanging off the side. My arm's relaxed. I don't want to be tense.
Three,
Timer's coming.
1, exercise.
A wide stance and soft knees is going to make this more comfortable too. Kind of resting my arm or my hand on my leg. I can turn and rotate towards the ground just a little bit to feel the lat more. And if you wanted to add motion to this, I would, face forward, do that slight downward rotation. That's going to give you kind of a flossing motion there, a gliding motion to add to what you're doing.
Three, 2, 1, rest.
Okay, I'm gonna move to a heavier weight. Gonna do some one-armed rows. There's a little bit of lat in that, but the way I'm gonna do it is gonna probably emphasize more of your rhomboid and your trap. So upper back between the shoulder blades. That's where you're gonna feel this. Okay, got my left hand, left knee on the bench. Get this other leg kind of in a comfortable position.
3, 2, 1, exercise.
Slightly flaring out my elbow, pulling my shoulder and my elbow back. I'm gonna hold this and pull my shoulder blade back till I feel a contraction in my back. Okay, I don't want to rotate. And at the top here, try to squeeze both shoulder blades together. Having a locked out arm is gonna help with that. You could go fast with this, but the majority of the movement is arm and shoulder. It's only really possibly a back when your elbow and shoulder get really high so you can squeeze that. So that's why I'm having us hold the high position so you can become more aware of those back muscles and getting them to work.
Three, 2, 1, rest.
Okay, trying not to rotate. I'll be the first person to tell you I'm not perfect, But think about all the cues. Think about getting it as clean as you can. Fully relaxed arm. And something I failed to mention, I don't know if you can see this. If I can do this, a little back arch, it's going to help me activate my back more at the top. So if you kind of push that tailbone out,
Exercise.
like you're trying to arch your back, if you've got the mobility to do that, it's going to get you better back contractions. At the top, puffing up my chest, squeezing the shoulder blade. Arching the back. Try to squeeze both shoulder blades.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Okay. And what I call a thread the needle. If I had a mat out here, I'd probably prefer to do it on the mat. All I've got is my bench. So I'm going to kneel by my bench. To open up my shoulder blades, I want to rest my shoulder on the bench, and then I want to turn and basically crush my chest on my arm and shoulder. I can actually even walk this arm to the right, my left arm to the right,
Exercise.
and press down. The more I rotate, the more it's going to move to my back. This works better on a mat, but this is a way to do it for sure. And if this is really strong for you, you know, a lot of times I do stretch with movement because stretches can feel intense. And if they're too much for you, you can always kind of, like here, I can rock into and out of the stretch. Less forceful, more persuasive. Relaxing the arm. If you're not used to this, again, like a lot of this stuff can be very uncomfortable. If you're a frequent lifter, you know, I spent my entire teenage years in my 20s doing only lifting, doing only young man activities. And when I started to stretch, it was so painful.
2, 1. Rest.
If you can work past that, work on a level that you're okay with until you can create some change. You know, stretching was worse for me than lifting the heaviest weights, for sure, because I was so acclimated to the weightlifting and so robotically inflexible. And, you know, sounds like a lot of young men, I'd say, but you learn to appreciate mobility the
3,
longer you're
2,
around.
1. Exercise.
Okay, kind of trying to keep my shoulder down, trying to roll my body onto my arm and put pressure on it. Can walk my right hand to the left. Giving it time, giving it work. Trying to feel that inside part of the shoulder blade kind of pop off the back a little bit. Kind of cleave itself open, separate from the back. I don't know the right words. Hopefully you get the message.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Okay, excellent. That is the circuit. That was a 30-minute circuit with all the breaks. So that was a long circuit. I would love to add more moves. There's a lot of moves I thought about adding to this list, but I wanted to keep it kind of brief, so it's kind of contained to a reasonable time frame. If you like this and you want like a really good workout, you should go through this circuit 2 or 3 times. You know, give yourself a good hour plus to do that, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. I would encourage you to, if you try this, to check on yourself a little bit after the workout, see how the body feels. You know, you might have some fatigue, you might have some muscular soreness, but how do your joints feel? How does your posture feel? Does it feel okay? Do you feel like things are kind of opened up and loosened up? Anyways, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take it easy.